Justin, you've been in this position before, obviously fighting for an undisputed title, but can you even compare the circumstances? I mean, not traveling halfway around the world, you know, fighting here in Arizona versus that. I mean, I got to imagine fight week itself feels a hell of a lot different.
Yeah, way different. I've seen the sun like 5 times now. I didn't see the sun for like 12 days in Abu Dhabi, other than when we went to the press conference. Circumstances are 1,000% different, and I am blessed to be able to have that.
I wonder, too, if the opponent is different in certain ways. Like Khabib had these, like, mythical qualities about him in his career, whereas not that Charles isn't just as dangerous, if not more, but doesn't have that about him. Does that change the mindset as well?
Yeah, I think so. They're definitely not the same athlete, and Charles certainly is not more dangerous than Khabib. His ability to take damage is not the same, proven through the times we've seen him fight. So, you know, all my criticism of Charles is from a kid that we were talking about, that we all watched grow, and now we're talking about a man with confidence. It's a different person, but ultimately, the same Charles is still there. Same Charles that fought Cub Swanson, same Charles that fought Donald Cerrone, same Charles that fought RDA, Pettis. Choices were made in that by him, and the choice to quit was made. And I'm going to give him that choice on Saturday night. I guarantee that.
It's interesting because the narrative is like that he used to quit, and a lot of people say, yeah, but he's answered that. He doesn't quit anymore.
That's fine. I think that's true. However, you know, once a coward, always a coward. I'm not calling him a coward, but I'm saying that's you can't just take that away. It's there. Khabib never showed you that, and that's why you can't compare those two.
And speaking about yourself, I mean, as you said, the circumstance is vastly different, opponent vastly different, but anything that you took out of that first time that you said, man, I screwed this up, I should have approached it differently, you know, lessons learned?
Yeah, I mean, a tactic was going to be to evade, and that was the first and only time I've ever had that mindset, and, you know, it won't happen on Saturday. If he marches through me, then good for him, but I won't be moving backwards.
Last thing for me, I think it's interesting, like your legacy is already secure as one of the most respected, you know, most entertaining fighters in the sport, but what would this win mean for you? I mean, what would a championship do for you? Does it change anything at all? Yeah,
it's huge, especially who we're talking about. You know, Charles, that's a man with confidence. It's by far going to be my biggest accomplishment in this game, in this sport. These are the good old days, and I cannot, you know, I can wait, but one day I'll get to look back and all of this will be special.
Justin, right here. I mean, man, you've had some all-time moments in this area here downtown. I mean, I remember 7 years ago, the Luis Palomino series back-to-back at Comerica.
Yeah, we'll be there tomorrow for a press conference.
Some of the loudest crowds still I've ever heard in my life, and it was only a couple thousand. I wonder, just does this area have good vibes to you? Like, does it have good memories that you carry for it this week?
Yeah, absolutely. All of my most competitive situations when I was learning about competition are in this valley. I was 3 hours from here, but we had to drive here on the weekends to wrestle. And, yeah. You know, I'm going to have a ton of family, ton of friends, but countless people that have seen me grow in this valley, wrestling in different duels and tournaments. I remember as a senior, I think it was called, I want to say Westwood, or I don't know, they're blue and orange. And when you're the guy, everyone wants to see you lose. And I was in a tough situation, and I had the entire gym against me. 8th grade state championship. I lost because I was too aggressive. The ref said I was being too aggressive, and I was pushing the guy out. So he gave him a couple extra points, and I lost that match. Every single person in there wanted me to lose. And then when I did dirty like that, they all booed that guy on the stage when he was on top of that podium, because I earned people's respect. Whether they want me to win or they want me to lose, my effort earns your respect, and that's all I'm here for.
Does it blow your mind to think that those Palomino fights were 7 years ago? I mean, do you even recognize that guy who was in those fights anymore?
I mean, that was a different guy, just like we're talking about a different Charles. I mean, with age comes wisdom. And every single fight you learn so much. So, yeah, those are, again, some of the best times that I've had in this sport, in this valley. Time flies. I wish it would slow down. You know, I tell everybody I meet that time, it does not slow down from here on out. So, yeah, you just have to embrace the opportunities, and I thank God daily for the opportunities I have to inspire people from around the world.
Charles, I mean, he's such a unique type of champion, right? Because he doesn't have this aura of invincibility. We've seen him lose, and even in these last few fights, we've seen him get really badly hurt, but it almost seems like he's his most dangerous when he's in that point where he's sort of in those blood and guts moments. How unique is that for you? And I mean, how can you circumvent those type of challenges?
Yeah, I mean, that is normal for a fighter. When you choose fight over flight, that's the only way. And yeah, he has done a great job. I think his opponents really made some mistakes. I think Chandler whooped his ass first round, got too overconfident, and that's why the shot was so effective. He forgot how much danger he was in. If they're awake, they're dangerous, and someone on the brink of dying is the most dangerous, especially when they choose fight. And so you can never take your foot off the gas, and you can never you can never be overconfident in that arena, because anything, anytime, that's why I'm such a fan of the sport. One shot.
Well, last one for me. I mean, you've certainly seemed to touch a chord with him a little bit with some of the stuff you've been saying. I mean, when he was in here 20 minutes ago, he promised a collision, and he said, quote, guys are just not getting the picture, and I wonder your response.
Yeah, I create car crashes, and I am the object with the most force. So, same mass. If he wants to play that game, I'm more than happy. He won't. He will have to. This will be just like Tony Ferguson. He will try to get this to the ground, and he will be stuck fighting my fight. That's the name of the game.
Hi, Justin, over here to your left. Speaking of Tony Ferguson, going into his fight with Michael Chandler, you fought both men. What's your prediction for how that fight goes?
I'm really focused on my fight. I don't know. Tony is a conundrum, and if you fight him a certain way, he's beatable. If you don't, then if you fight his fight, again, Pettis, RDA, those guys were probably better, but they fought a dirty fight, and you don't want to fight a dirty fight with Tony Ferguson.
Mm-hmm. And being so close to home, how are you going to celebrate this win? And, after years of being away or having not fought in Arizona?
I don't even know if I'll be alive on May 8th. I really hope so, because it's Mother's Day, and if I am, I'll be with my mom.
Justin, right here. We had Joe Lozon in here earlier, and he was kind of asked about your fighting style, and he said, quote, he would light himself on fire just to try to burn the other person a little bit. What do you think of that description?
Dude, one day when I'm done, a story is being written. There is a method to the madness, and I can guarantee and promise you that. There has been since day one. And when I accomplish this on Saturday night, you guys will all have to look back and watch the journey and understand the decisions that I've been making are for a reason.
I know you said a couple of years ago you only have X amount of wars left in you. I assume the Michael Chandler fight kind of ticked that down by one.
How was that a war? That was
Maybe
boring.
the first round.
That shit was. He hit me 4 times in the first round, once in the second because the ref let him, and after that, nothing.
Do you think people maybe overplay that fight? Oh, it was almost.
I mean, it was
fight of the year.
It was awesome, but internally in there felt slow and a little bit boring, to be honest with you, because in my mind I had to win. First time I've ever had to win and not finish somebody. I didn't like it, but it's the reason why I'm talking to you right now.
And I know you and Rose and Kamaru have done the camps together a few times now. Can you just tell us what this iteration of it was like, fighting on the same card as Rose?
Yeah, I mean, we draw inspiration from each other. She's, number 1, number 2 pound for pound female in the world. Kamaru's number 1 pound for pound male in the world. Surround yourself with people that will push you, inspire you. And that's, my job to them and their job to me. We feed off of each other.
And lastly, I'm just curious about the exchanges with Nate Diaz on social media over the past few days.
What do you say? That motherfucker's lost over 15 times. Like, come on. So for him to be criticizing me for 1 loss, I found it funny. And I think he's jealous because he's done. He'll never be here. He'll never be fighting for a world championship. And he'll never achieve a world championship. In the history books, I'm already a world champion, and I don't like it, and I don't accept it. I need to make it right on Saturday, but I'll be in the Hall of Fame. He should be too. but just because, the fans love him.
Was there ever talks of you and Nate fighting?
Of course not. I know I heard he turned down Khabib about 20 times. So for him to shit on me for losing to Khabib, I find that hilarious.
On Saturday you said...
But if he's fighting Khamzat next, then I got to give him some credit.
You don't see that fight going his way?
I don't know. Of course not. But again, I'm a fan of the sport because anything can happen at any time. But he doesn't... He's not gonna out wrestle him. He doesn't even have the power to shut someone's light out on accident, So, no chance. He is a 0% chance.
Thank you.
1% chance.
All right, Justin, what is that war count? Last I heard it was at 5?
It's at 5. I haven't had one since.
Okay.
The Khabib fight I lost, but, medically, there's not much repercussions when it comes to being choked for 10 seconds. It's not a TBI. Your brain doesn't start losing. It's not enough depletion of oxygen for your brain to start dying. The ref was there. I did tap, but had to go to sleep for a few seconds. Again, I would rather get knocked out than choked out, but for long-term health, I would rather be choked out than knocked out.
Justin, right here. I don't think many people know that your mom is of Mexican descent. This is obviously an important week in Hispanic culture. Does it mean anything to you to be fighting on the same week as Cinco de Mayo? I'm sure that was a big deal for your mom.
Yeah, in Arizona, I'm walking out to Vicente Fernandez El Rey. That'll be my walkout song, yep. My mom asked me to do that. I have a video of my tata before he passed away, like 3 months before he passed away, singing that song. I was his favorite mariachi singer.
Hey, Justin over here. You mentioned that Charles will be trying to get this fight to the ground, and while you've exhibited great takedown defense in your pro MMA career, your wrestling career, his grappling is a bit unconventional. He typically tries to secure takedowns against the cage rather than shooting for double legs in the middle of the octagon. So how do you see your different grappling styles matching up, and will you look to control the center of the octagon?
Yeah, the double leg he hit on Chandler was impressive. If that didn't happen, I would say he's got trips, and he falls into position well. So yeah, obviously I can't be on the cage ever.
And the day this fight was announced, you were actually on the Toxic Masculinity podcast with 2 Arizona legends, UFC Hall of Famers Dan Severn and Don Fry. You mentioned how you come from a generation of copper miners, and you even worked in a copper mine one summer in high school, and you said that's why you're still getting punched in the face, because you chose this line of work over that. Was there ever a moment that you believed you'd work in a copper mine field one day, or did you always know you'd be a professional fighter?
I probably, growing up, thought that would be my job. That's 3 generations, both sides of my family. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be a professional quarterback in the NFL, but size came into play, and that's not an option. And when I was growing up, this wasn't even an option as a career necessarily until Ultimate Fighter 2002. I'm in 8th grade when that happens. 1992, my dad had a little black box. We stole the pay-per-views. I remember watching Tank Abbott fight. And I fell in love with the sport, but I never once thought this was an option until I tried it, took my first fight, loved it, thought maybe I should do that again. And then I was fighting Eddie Alvarez on a pay-per-view. And so I probably always thought I'd be in a copper mine.
Thank you.
Justin, just real quick, I wonder how much of Safford can we expect to invade downtown Phoenix this week?
The population's 8,000. I would say at least half.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be insane.
Justin, can I just ask very quickly, can you just put into words what it would feel like to become champion should you win on Saturday?
I can't think about that. I can't process that. The only thing I envision is, I've envisioned it like about 4 times, him going to sleep. I don't know how he went to sleep, but I know I wasn't asleep. I want it to be as pure as possible, but it's going to feel amazing.